systematically over the last several years, employers have actually stepped in to smash unions of workers' choice more often than not with the support of government. This is not about throwing money to workers. It's about actually ensuring that the law works. The elemental issue, and that's in a sense the key attack of this government, which has no parallel actually in previous efforts for so-called labour law reform, is to virtually dismantle trade union rights. The significant legislative paper on the table, which would which would undermine trade union rights, which would allow government to unilaterally interfere in the affairs of trade unions. Nothing, so to speak, on the table actually helps advance collective bargaining. The way this government looks at trade unions is as unambiguously obstructionist. The question is, what's the kind of restrictions that are going to be placed on employers? One of the pieces on the table is unions will actually be deregistered if a union is found to have led an action that amounts to being illegal. Now, let me put it this way: when a company cheats its investors, its shareholders, its government, when it has tax fraud against it, is the company deregistered under the Companies Act? Firstly, the category of this question of skilling is not something that's new. It's very much part of the minimum wages. States have set minimum wages under the law. What this is to try and bring it into some kind of framework. I think that's not the point. The Minimum Wages Act, which is perhaps the most significant universal piece of legislation as far as workers are concerned, is perhaps violated in most. Workers are not left out of legislative legal protection. Workers are kept out. Workers are pushed out.
Having different categories of states and saying that in these different categories of states you'll have lesser or greater amounts that will be fixed as minimum wages. I'm not sure that the consequences of this have been studied at all. Because if you're going to have a huge difference in that scale from one state to another, what it will do, for instance, to migration is not clear at all. And I think these things need to be anticipated. If you have, there is a thing of the minimum wage that gets paid, and if you feel that it has to be linked up with the cost of living index, that can be done in different states. But to say that the minimum wage itself is going to be determined differently seems to me, I don't know how they've thought through to come to a conclusion like this.
Where is the scope to negotiate? They call it's a one-way street. Are they willing to talk when unions want to meet with them? The first thing this government did was, in fact, to issue a blanket order to demobilize and dismantle all tripartite committees. There are several tripartite committees, industry-wise, issue-wise, and this government dismantled them. Then, following protest, they actually put them back in place. It's 1.5 years, not one of those committees has met. We keep approaching the Labour Ministry, asking when these tripartite committees are going to be convened. Civil servants have no answer. When unions approach government does not respond, government does not meet, government does not listen. So where is negotiation? As I said, negotiation is not a one-way street. I cannot negotiate with you when you decide when we will talk.